Welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. And I think we should actually be changing that intro to say that this is the front line where we are winning the fight for financial freedom, because I think it's almost time. So you see here with Quant, we have been consolidating for 4 straight years. And obviously it hasn't been easy, it's been painful and stuff like that, but I think that the better days are actually very much ahead of us, and we're looking to do exactly as you see with this work of accumulation pattern here. So it's such a powerful thing for the chart to go through sideways action like this for a very long time, because when the bust actually happens, it really happens very much vigorously and violently. So I'm really looking forward to that here. There are a lot of things that I'm considering. I'm going to be walking you through a lot of charts which indicate that, look, not only is this bullish, but how high can we actually go with the quant price? If that sounds interesting, let's actually get right into it. But maybe before we do that, I want to kindly ask you to help me spread the video just by delicately tapping the like button. It will tell the YouTube algorithm that yes, this may be short and straight to the point, but it still is something that is very much relevant here. So let's just go ahead and show you the weekly time frame. I think as you can see, pertaining to the weekly time frame, you can see that we have got this amazing work of accumulation pattern. But I think one of the very important thing is that, well, where is the spike of accumulation pattern actually happening? And you can see with the chart that I have on the left hand side here, that's, the all-time price section of Quant. You realize that the price has actually been behaving is known in what is commonly known as like Elliott wave counts, right? So if you see from the very bottom right there, you've got wave 1, wave 2, then you've got wave 3 right there. This should be your corrective wave 4. And then of course there is something that is missing in here, which is an impulse, a wave towards the upside here, called wave 5. Now I think a lot of people have missed this whole thing because it has actually taken so long to consolidate here, but I think it's really going to be coming, right? Obviously the big question on everybody's mind is how high can we go with this, fifth wave that we are talking about here. And I think, we actually have got very much good examples right across the board. And as you can see on my right hand side here, I've got the Ethereum price action of the bull market between 2021 and 2020, and this is really a good blueprint here for Quant, because just like this usually just end up acting this way. So this consolidation, yes, it has been tough and all, but I think right now it's just time to do something like this here. We're gonna have to break above some resistance levels here for Quant, of course. And I was making a post yesterday saying that, look, once you get to break like $180 here for Quant, there pretty much isn't any resistance. And that actually was the case also here with, the Ethereum price back then in 2021. You see, it broke the top resistance of the range right there. And then the breakout really starts right there. I mean, it doesn't look back. Obviously, it consolidating now again, and we're anticipating great things to come from ETH. But Quant also, I think, is just going to do a fantastic job. So yes, of course, it's going to be a little bit shaky below $180, but other than that, I think once that is broken, we are really looking to start pushing these consolidations and work of accumulation patterns. They are like, keeping a balloon underwater, trying to keep it at least, but the moment you release it, it's just going to go on top of the water once again. So we're expecting the price to break out of this whole thing. And also just looking at like general market conditions from right across the board, the Bitcoin price, I will show you a very important chart right there, and it's looking safe for now. So the main question is obviously how high can we get right there. Since we already have a blueprint with Ethereum, I think it's safe to say that, look, what really happened with our Fibonacci retracement levels from the very top right there until the bottom, and we saw Ethereum going on to hit as high as the 3.618 Fibonacci extension level. However, its market cap went as high as the 4.236 Fibonacci extension level. That's like the maximum that you can ever do. Now, when it comes to Quant, if we pretty much apply the same concept, because the chart and the setup is still pretty much the same thing. Now actually, maybe a person may be wondering, like, why are they the same like that in different periods? It's just because at some point market makers, they rinse and repeat some of those things. So again, back to our price targets, applying the same Fibonacci retracement levels from the very top until the bottom here. For Quant, you will now be looking at a price target as high as right around 1,450. I think we can round this to something like $1,500 here for Quant, right? So that is just to repeat what Ethereum did back in 2021. I think that actually Quant has a better chance of doing that because the supply is so much less and it keeps getting off of exchanges for one reason or the other. I think it's less than 15% that is only on exchanges. So that's like 15% of like what? 14 million. I mean, it's nothing actually. Yes, for years it hasn't been moving, but please understand this. When a coin starts moving in this space, it draws a lot of eyeballs. And if it's scarce, like what Quant is, man, it really gets vertical sometimes. So I was saying that, just to repeat what Ethereum did, we're looking at $1,500. However, if we go to what the full market cap of Ethereum did in 2021, we are looking at $1,700 here for Quant. I think it's really a good number. And then of course, we are not only going to be taking a look at one example. Even if we look at the total market cap of all crypto in that same cycle back in 2021, we saw it pretty much repeating what the Quant price has been doing. If you remember, the structure has been like this, with a wake of accumulation from the very bottom here. Once you break that, you back test it, off and away you're going. So how high did this one go? Also, once again, from the very top until the bottom, this was managing to go and hit the full Fibonacci extension here. So I think that's great. There is a chance that Quant can pretty much repeat the same thing once again from top until bottom here. We're looking at prices right around like $1,700, and I think it's a really good feat. However, I mean, not everything is sunshines and rainbows here. We also had one other chart back in 2021 that had an almost identical setup here to Quant, which was Neocoin, and you can see it consolidating for years, just like Quant has been doing. Obviously, when it backtested this, broke out, it had a decent move actually of right around a 10x, right? So that's not small if you think about it. But what you see here is that it did not get into any sort of price discovery or anything like that. It was just rejected right at the 0.618 Fibonacci extension level. I mean, retracement level, not extension level. So in a remote chance that, look, we don't really get a fantastic bull run here for Quant, maybe we could be looking at here a price target of like the 0.618 Fibonacci extension level right around $280. And I think that actually it's less realistic than targeting something like $1,700, because what you will actually be implying is that from where the price is until your main target for this bull run is just right around like 150%, actually 137% away. I think it's just unrealistic. And also consider that even if we said Neo, which had the same setup and everything else, had a 10x, even though it did not go ahead to find new all-time highs and stuff like that. So still, from that argument of just a 10x for Quant here, from the moment you turn this resistance into a support level, you will be anticipating right around, I would say, close to 1,900. I think at this point it's almost a little bit clear to me that if the underperformers were doing a 10x from the moment they were breaking their resistances, and also looking at what the best performers were doing going all the full stretch of the Fibonacci scale, I think here that it's a very good chance that we see upwards of $1,500 for Quant. Obviously, this may be too bullish for a lot of people, but please recheck the dynamics of the Quant tokenomics. I think it's too good. I mean, it's too good to be true. It's much more scarce here than Bitcoin. So as long as there is demand in the market, it would usually do well, right? Obviously, the demand usually comes from speculation and a lot of people trying to get into it once it starts moving. But I think it's just a great idea to get it under resistance levels rather than waiting for it to get to $200 and then you can start trying to get in, because by then, I mean, just to get to $1,000, you will be looking at right around a 5x and stuff like that. That's less gains, but I think I'm actually talking to somebody who has been owning this token for a very long time, and I want to say cheers to you in advance. We're going to be making videos on this every now and then. I think you should actually be subscribing to the channel, turn on that notification bell, because you don't want to be missing any of these Quant updates. So I want to thank you so much for watching the video. If you could, please delicately tap the like button, share the video with your friends and family, and I will see you in the next one. Take really good care of yourselves. Bye bye.